You have all been fooled by the King of Curses. You believe that he is weak and cannot hold a candle to Gojo? Really? Are you that gullible? Gegyo Gatami is preparing us for the absolute worst. The fight is going to shock you completely. Sukuna has been playing all along and for the right reasons. Let me open your eyes right now to the truth, starting with leaving a like for Hackery Luck, subscribing if you're new, and now let's see your reality being shifted in 4K. The Sukuna and Gojo fight exposed these things. 1. A lot of people are crazy when it comes to standing people, and 2. Sukuna is viewed as weak. But the unfortunate reality is that I believe Sukuna's master plan is going to be the reason that Satoru Gojo will die or paralyzed from this fight. Sukuna is exceptional at all realms, especially being an experienced fighter. This is because of his ridiculous attacking ability. So let's begin with the pinnacle of jujutsu offense, being the domain expansion. Malevolent Shrine is one of the most overpowered domain in Jujutsu Kaisen for sure. Some people have been throwing in the word malfunctioning shrine, which I ain't gonna lie, that's kind of funny. But the fact that it is a barrierless domain, while being able to attack within any given range depending on the binding vow, is astonishing. Gojo lost to this domain the first and the second encounter. Why did Gojo lose? Simply because Sukuna's barrier was superior. Although inside the domain they were equal, due to Sukuna's domain expansion being able to extend outside, he was able to hit the weak outer shell of Gojo's barrier. This was evidently the case until Gojo was able to adapt to the situation, even using the prison realm as experience, which in itself could be argued the only reason Gojo was able to survive these domain expansions was because of the prison realm. Are we gonna say the prison realm really carried when it comes to Gojo? Because it seems like Gojo would have been losing. The ability to condense it into a basketball gave him such an advantage and was able to damage Sukuna in the process. However, domain expansions do not tell the whole story. This battle felt like an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object. Gojo's infinity is such a safe haven for him. If not for this, the fight would probably be a different story entirely. I mean, you have to read it. Sukuna said himself, Gojo is just a fish on the cutting board. Job number 1 is that he says, let's strip away your scales. This shows from the very beginning of the fight, Sukuna's plot was only to get rid of the infinity, nothing else. A lot of people have complained about Sukuna not using his curse techniques. What would be the point if he did so and they can never reach Gojo? This would be ridiculous thinking to adopt that type of thinking. Not only would it be a waste of chunks of curse energy, it would expose his repertoires and reduce the element of surprise when the time really comes. The only curse technique he used was dismantle, and that was to tear down a building, not for Gojo himself. He has not used any abilities on Gojo whatsoever, and he knows it would be a waste. So in that case, what was used instead? It was the domain amplification. This is something that was used throughout the fight, also known to be the anti-Gojo move, and is effective at just being that. The ability to pierce through infinity, although he could not use his curse technique at the same time, putting him at a disadvantage. There is only so much that can be done. So how would Sukuna stop such a powerful, broken, overpowered technique such as infinity? He plotted for the longest time. Sukuna most likely knows Gojo will not hang with him if infinity was not there. That means he should acquire something that stops that entirely, that being Mahoraga. Now look, Sukuna has never claimed he was an individual who cared about how he won. I mean, from time he fought against Megumi and ripped out the heart of Yuji, so then he's forced to engage. He's never been one for being fair. He just knows he's the strongest because he's always a winner. Do we shame Konjaku for stealing other people's bodies and using technique to technique? Do we flame Yuta for literally copying techniques and using it against other people? No, because you gotta do what you gotta do to win. Sukuna might have stolen techniques of people up to this point, but the title remained through all these years. He tamed the very thing that has never been tamed, being Mahoraga. You can see that he's doing things that has never been done before, and he always continues to innovate. Even in the Gojo and Sukuna fight, you can see Sukuna is not really fearful. In fact, it seems like he's enjoying the fight most of the time, just waiting for the clock to tick down until Gojo's infinity is gone. Mahoraga gets the job done, and that job is to complete his mission on tearing off those scales. That leads me to how will Sukuna end up killing Gojo? But before, let us speak about why Sukuna has went through the most tragic slander I've seen in anime history. Sukuna went through this humiliation, but there is reasons which in my opinion could be seen as valid. Let's be honest, there is a little bit of disappointment that Sukuna's actual worth has not been put on display. Called the King of Curses but haven't inflicted real damage to Gojo besides the domain expansion. Although logical, having the infinity nerfs every opponent and Sukuna is another victim. Whereas Gojo can do all these cool stuff in the world with no problem at all because he's not restricted in any way. It doesn't help his case that on top of all this, he has to eat a lot of the punches and attacks so he can be able to adapt. So it makes him look arse overall. Little do you know, this plot by our author, Gegeo Kutami, is going to be the reason Gojo is done for good. When you have a one-sided fight against a villain, especially a strong as hell villain, when does it seem like the hero wins? Especially when the villain has done nothing at all but look weak the whole time. This was a showcase to us that Gojo is him because of the whole theatric and cool stuff that he can do. Now what else has he got? Sukuna has bundles of things to show us, and we genuinely still to this day know nothing at all. From his curse technique to his existence in the high-end era, we still haven't even scratched the surface. Sukuna has taken all these hits like an idiot for a reason, to rip off that disgusting shield that Gojo has. Now it is game, and fair game too. Both reverse curse technique uses, but instead, Sukuna can deploy all the techniques he desires to implement to tear Gojo down. This is what he's good at, and has been good at for thousands of years. The end is near, but yes, it's thanks to Mahoraga, but you have to also admit it's thanks to himself too, for risking the possibility of Megumi dying after giving him the finger and gaining the body with it. It also takes skill and knowledge to learn how to become a cursed rune, so no one else besides him and Kenjaku knew how it worked. He learnt it alone to maximize the chances of winning by any means. You forget he conquered death itself. Is that cheating? He does whatever it takes until he finds the love he's been looking for. Now the aim is for him to destroy Gojo and solidify himself as the strongest. Gojo's character in Jujutsu Kaisen, if we're being honest, is complete. They heavily emphasize Gojo's ideology of the new generation taking over, and it can't be unnoticed. He believes in them so much to the point where he believes they will even surpass him. The killings of the higher ups showing this is the beginning of change. What he believed for society to blossom will come to pass, including the paralysis or his death. Not to mention a little foreshadowing in that case. It definitely seems like a new age of Jujutsu is coming, and with these many heavy hitters, I highly doubt Gojo will be needed any longer for them to grow. But this is my evidence to support the fact Sukuna has you all fooled, and you all fell into the trap. The amount of shocks to the system that is about to occur will completely eradicate the fact that Gojo at the beginning of this was winning a lot and now he's getting crushed. The disrespect that's incoming is going to be generational, and I genuinely believe that. Thanks for watching this video. Take your time to look at the video on the screen because hey, I hope to drop the best content only for you guys. And as I say to the new and old people that come and visit my channel, Jana.